iFILM, London. iFILM, London.
Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to the Radisson Edwardian in Manchester. I'd like to thank them for hosting this morning's press conference. We're here to discuss what everybody's been talking about and asking about for a number of weeks now. As you can see, on the 24th of November at the Manchester Arena, Ricky Hatton will return to the ring to what many people will say is his home, his house, the Manchester Arena, where he's had some fantastic nights. And so we're here to let you all know that, and the man himself's here now to tell you why he's doing it.
Thank you everyone for coming. It's great to be back, I guess. But I think the first thing I can start with is answer the question of, you know, what people are obviously all out there thinking is, why have I decided to come back? For me, it's where do I start? There's a number of reasons. You know, a lot of people would say, you know, what are you doing it for, Ricky? You know, what do you need to do? You know, you got beat by two of the best pound-for-pound fighters in recent years in your generation. You know, don't risk your legacy. We don't want to see you get hurt, which is obviously very nice for fans and friends, you know, to be worried about me from that point of view. But I think if you really do have to ask the question, why am I coming back, then I think you really need to have a sit down and have another think. It's been well documented what, you know, what's happened to me since the last time everyone saw me in a boxing ring. It was the, you know, 2-round, you know, demolition of Manny Pacquiao, which nobody wants to end their career in that way. Consequently, it put me into retirement, which I never really ever wanted to do. And it was well documented what has happened to me personally over the last 3 years because of the manner of that last defeat. And basically, I think my life had turned to mush. And bit by bit, you know, I've gone back into the promoting, putting a bit back into the game, which I love, you know, has done so well for me. But it didn't quite exactly fill the void. I've got to get a huge buzz getting opportunities. You know, when I get my fighters a British title shot or a European title or a world title shot, you know, it gives me a huge, massive buzz. But it still didn't fill the gap. And then I decided to take a trainer's license out, and I was in the gym every day of the week, you know, passing on my knowledge, what I've learned in the game to my fighters. And I think that just started the fire burning. To be honest with you, you know, working with the lads, you know, and I sort of like looking after myself a little bit better, getting a little bit fitter, and that's basically what it started from. And people say, you know, listen, I'm not coming back to fight at 4-round level and 6-round level. I want to fight for world titles. But this comeback for me, if you're wondering why am I doing it, it's more than a comeback. It's worth more than any money. It's worth more than winning any amount of world titles. It's worth more to me because a lot of people can turn around and say, listen, we think so much of you, Ricky. We don't want to see you get hurt. We don't want to tarnish your legacy. We don't want to see you doing all that. But they don't know what has been going on between my ears and what's been happening in my mind. There's a lot of things I've got to put to bed. And nobody wants the career to end in the way it ended. And I want British boxing to be proud of me again. I want my kids, you know, to look at me and say, you know, that's my dad there. And we've all had our problems. Everyone sat in this room has our problems, you know, but I've had my problems, and I want my dads to turn around and say, well, you know what, Ricky Hatton, he boxed Koshizou, he went to Vegas, he done this, he done that. And I don't want people telling my kids, God, but didn't his life turn to, didn't he blow it? Didn't he ruin it? I want my kids to say, you know what, he was world champion, he had his problems, but by how he bounced back. And I want people to look at me, you know, and be proud of me again. I want British sport, I want British boxing, I want my kids, my fans, my friends to be proud of me again. And I had the problems, and I'm over that now. And I want to come back, and I want people to look at Ricky Hatton in a different light. I don't want them to look how he flushed his life away. I want them to look at how it is. And if people, I understand them being concerned for my welfare and everything like that. And it's really, really nice and pleasing to know I've got so many people that care about me. But to answer the question, why am I coming back? I think it's a very, very easy decision. And I think you all know deep down. If you think about it a little bit closer, I think you know why I'm coming back. You know, and you know, I'm in a fantastic place. I've not felt this hungry and this desire because of the reasons for coming back. Like, You know, when I fought Kostya at the Manchester Arena all them many moons ago, which was seen as my best fight, I mean, Kostya needed a Harley Davidson and 2 baseball bats to beat me that night. Do you know what I mean? Nothing would have stopped me that night. And, you know, people said to me at the time, you know, you've climbed Mount Everest. You know, how are you going to sight yourself up from here and in? Well, you know, I became a 2-weight world champion, you know, and fights in Vegas and at the City of Manchester Stadium and the Castillo fight, you know, and I climbed that mountain several times. But to be honest with you, I think even towards the latter end of my career, that I lost that little bit of a hunger. You know, when you think you're financially secure and you've achieved all your goals and everything like that, we're all only human. I think I lost that little bit of drive. And believe you me, it's got back because I'm fighting now for a different reason. I'm fighting to redeem myself. I'm fighting to put a bit of goodness back into the sport. I mean, and what's happened recently, you know, we're having a great chapter of British sport at the minute with the Olympics and the Paralympics and the greatest football team in the world happened to win the Premiership last year. And all these things together, I've just got the juices flowing again to get back at this sport. Not just to win world titles. Of course, I want to win world titles, but it's bigger than that. You know, I used to, you know, I think the one line I can sum it up is, I live to box. I box to live now. That's what I want to do, and I want everyone in this room, whether it be press, sports fans, boxing fans, whether it be friends, family, and my kids, I want them to look at me and be proud again. You know, Ricky Hatton's redeeming himself. It's not about money. It's not about winning a world title. It's more than that to me. And I hope you can understand in listening to my words now, you know exactly where I'm coming from and why I'm sat at this table now. I want to do Manchester proud again, and I want to bring a world title back. I want to win my 5th world title. And I have to stress, actually, they always say it's 3 world titles. I won 4 world titles. There was Kostya, there was Carlos Mauser, there was Calazo, and there was Juan Urango. That was for the vacant IBO title, and I also took Urango's IBF title. You know, because if you remember, I fought Castillo and I was stripped because I didn't box a gentleman called Ben Rabat. It's actually 4 world titles, so I want you to write, you know, if I do come back and this comeback goes the way it goes, Ricky won his 5th world title, not his 4th. But that's the reason basically, and obviously we'll hand the floor down to questions, and you know, I'd just like to thank everyone's in attendance. And my training has gone fantastic so far. You know, how many years gone by? Have you seen Ricky Hatton 12 weeks before his press conference sat here at the top table looking like Barney Rubble? You know, I'm in the best shape I've been for a number of years because I've had to do so, because I'm making up for 3 years lost time. I've been working with Bob Shannon, been a good friend of mine. I've watched him coach at a distance for a number of years, and Bob Shannon's method of training is a little bit like the old school, the way I train. I had my best performances with my trainer Billy Graham, working on the body belt, working on the weights and the strength work and the angles of the punches and the stepping off. I've gone back to basics in more ways than one. And the way I'm performing in the gym, I don't expect you to take my word for it. I'm not exactly going to sit up here and say I'm performing a bag of rubbish. But, you know, the only way after 3 years out and the manner of my last defeat, the only way I'm going to convince you is by flattening someone on November 24th, and that's what I'm here to do. Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to open up to questions from the floor in a controlled manner if we can. So if you can put your hand up if you've got a question, name and publication, please. Yes, mate. Any ideas that you could like? There's been several names we've been talking about, and obviously over the next few days, obviously we'll make our decision on who it's going to be. But as I mentioned earlier, with the greatest of respect, I haven't come back to do 4 and 6 rounders. I've come back to try and win another world title. And in order to win a world title, or put myself in a position to fight in a world title, a lot of people have turned around and said it would be a journeyman type or anything from my first one back. You know, I'm not going to get ranked if I fight a journeyman. I need a challenge. I've never shied away from a challenge my whole career. Nothing's changed. I think it will be a fighter that and an opponent that people will respect me for choosing the level of opponent, and it's an opponent that will get me ranked. And in getting me ranked, then it puts me in a position to fulfil my dreams, which is obviously having another belt around my waist. But we will announce that in the in the immediate future, because there's nothing worse than,
you know, there's a fight on and you don't find out who you're fighting to like a week before, you know, we'll definitely let you know. I would say within the next week to 2 weeks, certainly.
Yes, mate.
What sort of style can we expect to come back with? Will we see the older Gabbies and all that?
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, you know, you can't change your spots, but I think I'm a little bit older, I'm a little bit wiser. And what a lot of people don't realise is I'm a trainer as well now in my own right, you know, and looking at boxing from the other side of the ropes as well, you know, I teach my boxers day in, day out, you know, to not just be aggressive, to watch the punches coming back the other direction, you know. My problem was I was always too aggressive. And I was always good at dishing it out, but I didn't have too much care for the shots that were coming back to me, and that's what I've been taking into my training. So I've got to practice what I preach a little bit. I'm a little bit older, a little bit wiser. I always had very underrated boxing ability. I had great boxing ability, but when the red mist set in, that was Ricky Hatton. He was off, wasn't he? You know, and I'm going to learn by my mistakes. We've been working on defence with Bob, left, right, and centre, catching shots, slipping shots. You know, more aware of the shots that's coming back. But a lot of people say, well, you know, he's past it, you know, and all that. But for the Manny Pacquiao fight, and there's a few people that would have saw me in the last week leading up to that fight, as far as my training camp goes, I didn't have a fight left in me by the time that fight come. When I got in the ring, I was a shadow before myself. Talk about being trained into the ground. And, you know, I'm not saying I'd have beat Manny Pacquiao, but there was reasons in that training camp that led to the manner of the defeat. And if I am past it, it was only the previous fight against Paulie Malignaggi where people were saying that's the best performance since you fought Kostya Tszyu. And that was only one fight before the Manny Pacquiao fight. So, I mean, granted, I've got 3 years to make up for, but I have every reason to come back even better than I first was. And I don't expect anyone to sit there and believe that. The only way I can make you believe in it is how I perform on November the 24th. But be the same old Ricky Hatton, you know. You won't go on board, mate, trust me.
I'd just like to mention that fight with Pacquiao 3 years ago. If you look at that fight, you look at it seriously, you see that Ricky Hatton was like I could just describe it, he was just like a raging bull. He was just raging his eyes. He had no game plan, he just went in straight lines at Pacquiao, and that's why it lasted 2 rounds. And it's come out of the blue for me. I got a phone call off Ricky a week ago, and I haven't seen Ricky for at least 6 months. And he said to me, can you come and see me? I'm thinking of fighting again. And I went to see Ricky, and the first thing I said to him, I looked right in his eyes, I said, why are you doing it, Ricky? Why do you want to fight again? Tell me. And the 2 of us are together. He said, I want to redeem myself, Rob. He said, I just think about that day 3 years ago when I was with Pacquiao. He said, if only I did this, if only I did that. Now everyone needs a second chance. And when I seen that, and he wanted to redeem himself for his family, his son, his child, his family, I thought, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear, I need the money, I need TV dates, I need this, I need that. I want to do it for my fans and for myself, that I want to redeem myself and be the man I used to be. And that's my job, to get him back up there. And that's what we've been doing for the last week. We've been doing eye coordination, timing. I haven't put the body bag on him yet. I've left that alone, just working on time, and I can honestly say it's unbelievable. It's like he's never been away from the gym, and I feel like I've trained him since day one because we just gel together. He moves like he used to do, his head movement, and that's what my job is all about, to instill that, to instill the class he's got, the ability he's got. And we know when Ricky gets in close, he does the job. It's just getting inside, that's what I'm working on. And I'm so excited that the legend, and that's what he is, a legend, is back in British boxing. And he will be a world champion without a shadow of a doubt. That's my destiny.
Cheers,
Anybody else? Any questions?
Scott Smith from FightHub.com. Regarding the situation with the television channels, obviously the situation that happened with Sky Sports, what's going to happen regarding the televised coverage for the contract right?
I'll answer that one. Okay. We're in negotiations with 2 or 3 channels at the moment, but today's press conference is just solely about Ricky's comeback. And
I'd just like to add to that, Rich, is that few people have unbelievably said to me, are you making the comeback just to get TV dates? I mean, that's the most stupid question I think I've been asked in a 13-year career, to be honest with you. I mean, I think you could tell by the emotion and the reasons that I give for me comeback. You know, just 10 minutes ago, I think it's clear that I'm not done that for TV dates. There's one reason for the comeback is Ricky Hatton, nothing more. And and to redeem myself and to make people, family, fans and everyone feel proud of me again. It's nothing to do with TV dates. If dates do come off it, that's what I have this man for, in order to do that. But there's one reason for the comeback, is because I want to come back and I want people to be proud of me again. I want my town, my hometown to be proud of me again. I want the country to be proud of me again. That's why I've come back. And believe you me, from the bottom of my heart, nothing to do with dates. If dates come from it, lovely. But it's all about Ricky Hatton coming back and redeeming himself.
Anybody else?
Yeah, obviously, there's no point me turning around and saying to everybody, "Oh, I'm performing great in the gym, I'm sparring brilliant, and I'm doing this, I'm doing that." You're only going to believe it when you see November 24th. But I think the opponent that I do choose, I think once again, I think you'll say, "Fair play, Ricky. You've not gone in there, looking for anything easy." And I need that in order to get ranked. As soon as I get ranked and get myself in a position to fight for the world title, then that's what I'll be going for. You know what I mean? And I never pick the easiest to champion. I mean, whoever's out there, whoever's got a belt, and whatever deal that me and my team can strike, the minute I'm in a position to challenge for one, that's where I'm going to be going.
What weight?
Heavyweight. No, I'm going to come back at welterweight. Obviously, a lot of, my best weight was always like welterweight. I had the majority of the success there, but when I boxed Collazo, that was 2007, 6, something like that. You know what I mean? So that was all them years ago, and I still won a world title at welterweight, and that was 6 years ago. So I think the professional way of saying it is that I've matured into the weight over the years. But no, I think the welterweight division is there, and there's lots of great fights out there. You've seen Paulie Malignaggi, who's won the world title at welterweight, and obviously you've got fighters in this country, in Amir Khan and Kell Brook, which is obviously, I'm not going to lie to you, I'd love a run and jump at them lot, but let's, it's more than world title. As I say, it's more than a world title. It's more than anything like that. It's about me redeeming myself. And the first thing, you can throw all these names in the hat. Are you going to fight him? Are you going to fight him? Are you going to fight him? I've just got to perform November 21st. So you start believing in me again. You say, wow, he has got something back. And then we can start looking at people like that, can't we? But until I turn around and prove to the whole of boxing and everyone, look, still plenty in the old dog yet, there's no point me talking about anyone else other than the November 24th show.
Yes, mate.
Sorry, when do tickets go on sale?
Tickets, that's a good question. We're going to come to in 5 minutes, but they go on sale at 12 o'clock. Anybody else, any lucky last question? No? Right, we'll bring it to a close. I'd like to thank everybody for coming. Like the gentleman just asked, at 12 o'clock, the ticket line will be open, Ticketmaster, ticket line and Eventim. Tickets will be available from 12. I want to thank everybody for their attendance today. Ricky's going to do a photo opportunity outside in front of the hotel now, and then it will be available for a limited period of time, some one-on-ones. If you want to see Simon, the chap in the blue suit and distinguished grey hair, he'll sort that out for you. So thank you everybody for your time.
Thanks everyone, thank you.
Thank you.